Story 1. Cleaning never stops. There is always something to clean, something that is dirty. Dishes, floors, bathroom, forever until death. Yes, this is a petty problem, but come on, can't things just stay clean for a while? Story 2. I realized my toxic friend group was diminishing my personality, so I left them a year ago. However, my personality has not returned. I still dislike doing the things they guilt me into, and I am still afraid of making new friends. Story 3. My life feels like it is held together with vibes, caffeine, and pretending I am fine. No plot, just filler episodes and bills. Story 4. How tiring it can be to work constantly just to have a roof over your head and food on the table. The gratitude for being able to do that is there. Sometimes I wish I could do more. I wish I could help my parents retire debt-free. I wish my husband and I did not have to spend so much money on basic expenses like having a place to sleep, heating the house, and turning on the lights. I want to be able to save money so my child can receive the best education possible. I am not asking for annual trips abroad or designer purses. Just space to do a little more to make our lives better. Not more luxury, just better in the long run. Story 5. Why are you exiting the parking lot in the middle of the driveway? Leave some room for people to enter. Story 6. My job involves dealing with the things people tell me. I am in human resources, and people often unload their traumas on me because they think we are therapists or confuse us with them sometimes. I have a therapist specifically for the issues that arise from my job and how often people share horrible, unsolicited experiences from their past. Story 7. The United Kingdom government is trying to make significant cuts to disability benefits while pushing through an assisted dying bill with fewer safeguards. I support assisted dying in theory, but do not trust the government to maintain protections for people or prevent extending it to those who are not terminally ill and may feel they have no other option if they lose their benefits or care. I am tired of non-disabled people who are not directly affected showing indifference when disabled people protest, witnessing rampant ableism, and seeing disabled people called entitled for simply wanting to live. Story 8. So when you pay for something with cash, which is rare these days but stay with me, and it costs £3 and you have £10, why does the cashier give you a £5 note laid across your palm and then £2 in coins on top? Now I am panicking about getting this into my wallet and not holding up the line. Just give me the coins first. Story 9. The small group of men with weed whackers, leaf blowers, and lawnmowers patrols the corner where I live in constant rotation, creating a large cloud of dust from the leaf blowers. There is always a lot of noise from the weed eaters. None of these men have lawns or grass, yet there are always at least 6 men on my corner using loud gas-powered tools that blow dust into the air. As a result, every car in the neighborhood is completely covered in dust, and it is never quiet in my neighborhood. Story 10. My life is falling apart due to the changed requirements for licensure for the job I want in my state. $25,000 in student loans for literally nothing. I am freaking out. I only have 15 credits left to earn on this now useless degree. I just found this out last night after being tipped off on Reddit that the previous licensure requirements changed on January 1st. Story 11. My dad has cancer and he lives far away from me. He does not want me to share this information with anyone, including my husband. I have been keeping everything to myself and feeling very anxious to respect his wishes. Story 12. How hard it is to work a great job as a single parent. I want to work more hours, but I cannot due to how inflexible the kids' schedules are with school. I so badly want to provide more for us, but I cannot, and it is difficult. Story 13. I will soon graduate from college, and I now have the biggest regret for not pursuing my dream course. I found myself looking for a job related to my dream course, not the degree I earned. Story 14. Honestly, I have been mistreated by my university. I have been suspended for 10 weeks now, and they are still refusing to explain what I have done wrong. I am experiencing panic attacks and flashbacks to the meetings where they brought up my childhood trauma, including being beaten, abused, and discarded by my mother, and used it to try to accuse me of being sexist just because I called out a tutor for lying to me multiple times and asked her to stop. This school is abusive, but it is the only school in the country that offers this subject. I have nowhere else to study, and it is the only thing I want to do with my life. I am autistic and have been passionate about this subject since I was 6 years old. I have another meeting next week, and I am very scared. I cannot handle these meetings. I do not want to be mistreated behind closed doors again, but I have to if I want to get the education I truly desire. However, I try to accept both the good and the bad. Story 15. Stuck in a job that is slowly killing me due to its toxic management, understaffing, and horrendous workload. My mental health is shot. I am burnt out, run down, constantly stressed, unable to sleep, and not eating properly. I cannot leave because I need the money and cannot find a job that pays the same. I feel like an animal backed into a corner, cowering. Story 16. The job market is challenging. I have applied to almost 300 jobs in the past few months and have not received a single interview. Even though I have a polished resume, more than 3 years of experience in my field, and a bachelor's degree. Story 17. People like myself who have disabilities are still being discriminated against by employers. I have a speech disability and I absolutely despise people who will not even give us a chance. Just because I do not speak as fluently as you do does not mean I will not be a valuable employee. I work hard and I have a strong work ethic. Discrimination against those with disabilities has to end. It is hurtful and it is immoral. How can you even live with yourself? Story 18. Nearly 2,000 years ago, someone suggested that everyone should be kind to each other for a change. Humanity chose to nail him to a tree and use his message to justify being cruel to each other instead. Story 19. Howard University does not treat its students well and never pays the graduate students on time. They also do not pay the graduate students until the international students get their social security number, which is against the law. Story 20. I could literally pay off my student loans in full with the amount of money I am paying in taxes this year, but instead I am stuck repaying them until 2029. Story 21. I am emotionally stuck with another person, and I cannot get over them, even though our past experience always left me in an emotional pit. Story 22. My parents stopped taking care of me entirely the second I turned 18. No speaking, no real advice going forward, and no help with anything at all. I noticed it started early in college. Something switched with my parents. If I did even one thing they thought was disrespectful, I was treated like a ghost at home, completely non-existent. It was like I wasn't there at all. When they felt it was enough, they would just buy me things to try and make up for it, especially when they noticed my mental health deteriorating and that I was self-harming. Then it would all happen again. I'm 19 and just finished my first year of university. It's been nearly 10 months since I've been completely ignored and become non-existent to my parents. I have just lived in my room ever since I retorted back during one of my biology discussions in a rage fit in front of relatives. My mom didn't even see what happened and immediately took his side, completely forgetting and ignoring me. I really need a hug. I'm saving up with my student loans and doing everything to get a job. Once I finish university, I'm just leaving the house entirely. They won't even notice I'm gone. I just need a hug. Story 23. I am having my right eye treated with laser for diabetic retinopathy again today. I had the right eye treated many years ago as a preventative measure. Then, I received a couple of injections in the left eye and several long laser sessions about a year ago following an actual blood vessel rupture, which caused me to lose vision in that eye for about 4 months. These procedures are difficult, and I do not want to continue them. I am 50 years old and have spent my entire life managing various health issues. I am very tired. Story 24. I am beginning to have less empathy for people when bad things happen to them because of how unkind people are to each other in general. I want to see the good in people, but they continue to act in ways that suggest there is no good in them. Story 25. Overuse of subscriptions instead of being able to buy and own things. I dislike that everything requires a subscription now. Additionally, companies can increase costs as they please. Story 26. The older I get, the more I miss how we all used to meet in collective spaces, learn, and socialize with each other. I cannot believe I am saying this, but I miss school. I do not want to pay bills and stare at a computer screen. I do not want to text friends and then not hear back for 3 days. This is very frustrating. Story 27. Too many people are direct messaging me videos and memes on Instagram. No, I am not going to watch the 12 different videos you sent me and react to all of them. Please remove me from the direct message chain. Story 28. USAA insurance is dishonest. They engage in actions that could warrant legal consequences. Story 29. The current job market is difficult. Employers are often unwilling to consider candidates who disclose a disability. Story 30. I feel like I am starting to dislike one of my friends, and it is complicated because we are polyamorous and dating the same person. Story 31. QuickBooks Online keeps adding enhancements to its software that are nothing more than advertisements for additional services, and I have to close or scroll past them every time I load a screen to get to my data. Story 32. My ex-mother-in-law is difficult. My ex and I share equal custody, and she was upset because I signed our children up for activities after her son complained that I do not enroll them in anything. She told my kids horrible, scary stories, and now they do not want to go to camp. My 8-year-old is afraid of dying like the girls in Texas. My ex lives with his mother, so they work together against me. His girlfriend, who is 15 years younger than me and 20 years younger than my ex, has also started to treat me badly. Story 33. People walking slowly on escalators, moving walkways and subways going in or out of the doors. If you want to just stand there, fine, but then stand on the right. Story 34. Current breakup, how much society and government set us up to fail, horrible mental health system, my suicidal thinking, my trauma that caused dissociative identity disorder, how hard life is after you have been institutionalized. Story 35. My boyfriend yells at me daily and tells me it's my fault. When I cry, he says I act like I'm the victim, but he is the victim in every scenario. I told him I don't feel close to him because of this, and he responded by yelling that I hurt his feelings. Instead of asking how he can make me feel more connected, he says he only acts like this at home and blames me for his yelling and for my reactive behavior. He often reminds me that I missed my medication or am not taking it, even though I do and keep a log of the exact times I take it every night. I am bipolar. I could go on. Story 36. People think it is okay to text and drive. It is so common now, and the police do very little to prevent it. We genuinely cannot drag ourselves away from our phones. Story 37. I feel like I do not deserve to be here, and I am constantly anxious about my own existence. I feel like I am always under the microscope, and every little thing I do is judged. I am trying not to care about any of it, but it is hard. Story 38. How do people all of a sudden seem to forget how to drive between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m.? There are so many accidents every morning. It is the same situation every day. You are not stuck in traffic, you are the traffic. If you do not want to be in it, leave earlier or later. Pay attention to the road and other drivers, and do not be distracted. I firmly believe there are no accidents, only collisions caused by distracted drivers. Story 39. I am unsure about what I am doing with my life. I am 21 and struggling to late register for classes because I feel that everything I am pursuing and doing is pointless. I am breaking up with my girlfriend tomorrow because I am not happy. I have been unhappy in our relationship for months, but I kept trying to make it work because I thought what I was doing was love. She is kind but has made this relationship her entire life from the start. It is more of a coping mechanism than a healthy dynamic. She is very attached to me, and I do not know how I am going to handle this. I feel terrible. Story 40. How America's current political system has been sending alarm bells in my head since my grandmother would tell me her childhood stories of growing up in Nazi Germany and what she remembered before the National Socialist German Workers' Party took over. I feel like I am going insane because the people in my life I would usually vent to see where we live as an unsinkable ship that will forever uphold checks and balances. Story 41. My Make America Great Again family members drive me absolutely nuts with how uninformed they are and how they support policies that directly harm them. One family member doesn't believe in vaccines. They think doctors are just paid to promote them. My favorite uncle was high risk and died of coronavirus disease after refusing to get vaccinated. He was adored by the whole family, but his children and wife are still supporters of Make America Great Again and against vaccines. One of his children is a lesbian, unemployed for more than 2 years and on government assistance, but she still displays the Make America Great Again flag on her truck. It is just infuriating and frustrating. Story 42. People I used to call friends are cutting me off without an explanation. If I did something, talk to me. I cannot accept it's nothing or straight up ghosting. How are we supposed to communicate problems and work on them if you just keep things vague? Now, anytime they see me in public, I just get dirty looks or they stare and walk faster. For real, I thought we were adults, not still in middle school. Story 43. I cannot sleep at night, and it makes doing anything during the day very draining. Even simple tasks like cleaning the bathroom, cooking rice, and getting my hair done feel exhausting right now. Story 44. I am tired of people using the word girly. Also, I am one minor inconvenience away from a full psychotic break. Story 45. The fact that there are no consequences for bad actions is troubling. Our stories teach us that good will win and evil will lose. Yet, the United States has a president convicted of 34 felonies who will never see jail time, and we are all suffering because of it. The United States is rapidly moving toward being an authoritarian state, but I still have to go to my job and get along with people who I suspect voted for this. Why? Story 46. There is a strange pressure in my head that I woke up with, and I think I am starting to get a migraine. I am on my menstrual period, and this happens every month, multiple times a month if my diet or anxiety has been especially bad. It is unpleasant, and the only medication that helps is not affordable. Story 47. Just people in general. You talk about something that you're into, and it's fine if they don't know it, but they can't be bothered to act interested at all. They just look at you with a straight face and shrug, or keep looking at their phone and say, yeah. You give someone every reason not to drop something like games, and all they want to do is sit around and doom scroll all day, then drink on the weekends. That's their only form of entertainment. Anything going on in the weekend has to involve drinking people, and I cannot stand drunk people when I'm sober. I don't like getting drunk at all anymore. They just look at you and say no when you ask them to do something, or it's always, I'm going to go home and nap after this. You ask them time and time again and finally stop. Then months later they ask everyone if they want to suddenly do that thing, even when it is the worst day for it. People are just absolute buzzkills and shut-ins anymore, and I'm just over it. Story 48. I'm worried I won't ever like my career choice. I went to school, I have a master's degree and a teaching credential. I put in the time, effort, and money. I have taught for 2 years so far, and I'm entering my third this school year. I teach elementary school. So far, I feel like I'm always counting down the days until the next break. I feel overwhelmed and stressed at work. It really isn't what I expected, and it makes me feel hopeless. What if I put in all this time and effort, but at work, I feel exhausted? I think things would be better if parents were more involved and administration was more supportive, but I don't know. Story 49. It feels like the majority of the world is trapped under one big mysterious force, and everyone is looking around agreeing that things are messed up, yet most people do not have any idea how to make things better. We blame the government, but if we really knew how to fully govern ourselves, they would not matter. Story 50. My one friend interrupts me all the time and I can't tell if it's on purpose or not, and I want to scream. Like if I'm observing someone I think is cute in order to talk to him, this friend will pick that exact moment to hold me hostage in a conversation about some unimportant topic, then be like, "Are you okay?" when I'm visibly irritated. He's done it about 6 times. He's not malicious, so I don't think it's intentional, but he's also my ex, so I wonder if it is. Story 51. Work is terrible. Corporate greed knows no bounds, and my coworkers accept it without question, caring only about work with no life. Also, ignore those kinds of people. TikTok is widespread, and these influencers make a lot of money, further harming the economy. Life is busy, and sometimes your loved ones will not understand that. Protect yourself first, you come first. I am already over this summer heat. Ignore negativity and focus on yourself every time. Story 52. Preferring smooth peanut butter is perfectly fine, but hating on crunchy is unacceptable. Oh, you are upset that there are peanuts in your peanut butter? Story 53. I complimented a person's forehead on Reddit roast me, and someone said, "What the heck?" Then deleted it. I cannot give a wholesome compliment on Reddit. Story 54. Half of the people on the streets should not have a driver's license, and I am already in a country that requires much more practice before you get it than, for example, the United States. I know that driving 80,000 kilometers per year at least possibly gives me increased ability to foresee situations and react accordingly. It may change my style of driving a bit, but I cannot deal with all these careless drivers anymore. Passing cars with a 2 km/h speed difference for half an hour, pulling onto a highway at less than half the speed of other drivers, constantly driving at one speed because they do not even know where they are. Also, older people who cannot see where they are going, people parking in the most inappropriate places, parking in zones exclusively made for delivery, loading, or unloading, forcing you to walk twice the distance between your car and the customer. And then there are the drivers who become defensive at the smallest provocation. You honk at them because they are doing something dangerous. Now they complain and brake check or simply slow you down for at least 5 minutes. You were initially faster with your delivery vehicle than they were with their visibly modified car. The same reaction. Some days I am so frustrated with this. I want to grab people and shake them until their brain cells fall into the right place again. Road rage is my passion, though only verbally to myself. Story 55. Besides politics, the environment, and the greed of the wealthy, here's my small life update. I can afford to do the things I want, but it will eat up my savings. My family jokes that we have a break-even curse. As far as curses go, I'm not upset about the one we have. Mostly, I'm just tired of how expensive everything is and how we're just so close to achieving the big goals and being okay. We want to get a simple house, 4 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, and maybe try for a baby. We have 1 bonus child already. We can afford to live in our $1,400 3-bedroom, 1-bath rental, and would love for the landlord to sell it to us so we can apply for first home old house upgrades, like windows and insulation, and fix the broken porch. I still have my fun second car, a 1978 Corvette I bought a few years ago when I was pretty certain I wouldn't live through the summer due to a severe lupus flare. My daily driver has an electrical problem with the front left turn signal. It works fine below 70 degrees Fahrenheit but does not work above that. The air conditioning died during the first heat wave of the summer. It vibrates back and forth when going over 65 miles per hour, and it has a rusted exhaust that needs to be replaced to pass inspection. All of this would probably cost $2,000 to $3,000 at a garage. So, do I keep fixing it? Or do I give it up and buy a new reliable used car with a lower monthly payment? I could sell the Corvette too to make a better deal, but I was hoping to keep it until its 50th anniversary and sell it then. It feels like the last bit of just me freedom I might not be ready to let go of yet. I hope the anniversary will increase the resale price a little and maybe reach $20,000, which we could put towards a down payment. I wouldn't be too regretful selling the Corvette either. Once I pay off the next daily driver, I could explore getting another fun second old car. But I need a reliable daily driver because I want to visit my family, who live 2 to 3 hours away, regularly. One grandma is a new widow and the other just broke her leg. I need a good car. Plus, I need to upgrade my phone, a Galaxy Note 8, or at least transfer the photos to my external hard drive. But I have to make room on my phone so it can connect to my computer to move the data to the hard drive. What's on my phone? Photos and videos of my fur baby, my soul cat, who passed away in my arms in December at 20 years old. I've had this phone since 2017, and it is packed full of memories. I don't much like using cloud storage, but I'm putting what I can where I can to get my phone functional again. It's taking a while because it makes me very sad. I'm also managing $800 in credit card debt, $800 in hospital bills, thanks, lupus, and $600 from gas and electric charges due to estimated billing discrepancies from years we didn't even live in the house. All these debts are on an affordable payment plan, so I'm still okay and can afford a new used car around $14,000 on top of it. I need to get my hair done for my sister's wedding, but I waited too long and my regular stylist is booked. That's another smaller but hefty bill when I need to pay bigger expenses. I also just booked our hotel for the wedding, which is 6 hours away. That was another large expense I didn't quite need when I have all these bigger bills coming up. Managing all these tasks would leave me living paycheck to paycheck for a short time, and I do not like that. Nothing is terribly bad right now, but because terrible things could happen at any moment, I am constantly filled with anxiety about what could go wrong. Anyway, while I can afford to do the things I want, I prefer living without worry. Every dollar counts, so if anyone wants feet pictures, direct message me. Story 56. I have been undergoing a comprehensive neuropsychological evaluation, and it is worsening my symptoms to the point that I am barely managing. The cost is $1,600, and they may not discover anything new, so I will have to live my life this way. I am scared. Story 57. My wasted potential bothers me. I know it is cliché, but I went from testing at the 99th percentile and being 3 years ahead in math to completely shutting down and losing my sense of identity. Looking back at my childhood, my parents failed to protect me from violence or teach me how to be a human being. I feel like a shell of the curious and intelligent person I once was. I did get into a good college and earned a 4.0 grade point average in the fall semester, but I was sent home this spring after being hospitalized due to a breakdown. Now I am considering not coming back because I am so embarrassed. Even though I love that school and the people in it with all my heart, I cannot stand being seen as crazy. I actually begged to be allowed to take a gap year. Had I done so, I would not be in this situation. Story 58. I am experiencing a violent back and forth between feeling numb, crying, and feeling numb again immediately after crying. I sleep, wake up, and work, and if I am not working, I am worrying about gas and bills. I do not like the way my life is going, and it makes me feel depressed. Story 59. My husband was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, and I was raised as an atheist. I am beyond sick of being compared to those good Christian women who have done nothing but put others down. I am on the verge of divorce. I am so tired. I am 51 and have wasted my life walking on eggshells. Story 60. Or they try to sell you these latest medications. Forget that. I called my doctor and told him, yeah, right? I don't think so. I know someone brings you this stuff for you to sell to me. I am not a sucker, nor am I a test subject, so no. I want something that has been on the market for a long time and is proven effective. Story 61. I feel distant from my husband after a difficult year where I carried much of the burden, seeking resolution and closure on issues, but often felt dismissed or not taken seriously. I fear that I have fought all the fights I had in me. Now he is showing up, being energetic and more present with my daughter, but I am horrified by how detached I feel from him and am borderline bothered by him. I miss being in love, but at the same time, it feels almost impossible to feel that way again. I am not sure if that even makes sense. Story 62. I may sound so lame, but just the fact that I am in my mid-20s and I am still dealing with mental illness and all that good stuff. Man, I thought I would enjoy life by now, but I am still dragging myself from one day into the next. I am tired of fighting. I wish this problem would leave me alone. I want to enjoy living. I do not want to be miserable anymore. Story 63. My pets. I love them, but they are very needy. Lord, help them and us when our child is born later this year. Story 64. Honestly, I am making the most money I have ever made in my life. I have not changed my circumstances in years. No new debt or any new payments like car finance, dad loans, or credit cards. I have been promoted twice in the last 5 years, yet I have the least disposable money I have ever had. What is going on with the world? Story 65. Being constantly left out of plans with friends and not being allowed to be upset about it is infuriating and very lonely. Story 66. My health. Ever since menopause, everything has been going wrong. I am tired of doctor appointments and the bills that come to my house afterward. Plus, I still do not feel good. What the heck? Story 67. How much I hate this month. My birthday is in this month. My birth month is cursed and always has been and always will be. It is only the 9th and I have already witnessed a horrific car crash, got shorted on my pay for work, and have had to deal with a lot of work drama. I am this close to digging a hole in my backyard and burying myself in hopes that I can live as a worm. Story 68. I feel unemployable and cannot even get a job in fast food. I have not worked in a kitchen before, but I am willing to do dish duty. Interview after interview leads to nothing. What am I supposed to do? They seem to like my resume enough to contact me, but I have not been able to get a single job. Story 69. I just beat cancer, but my mother is still fighting hers. I do not even know what to feel about that anymore. Story 70. Might be a longer post, but for anyone who reads this, thank you. My girlfriend and I, of 6 months, just broke up. It wasn't messy and was mostly mutual. She had been distant for a couple of weeks, either not texting or barely texting, some days more than others. Eventually, there was a day that she didn't text at all. I sent her a message saying something like, I feel disconnected. We don't talk as much and it feels one-sided. We need to talk. She said a lot had happened in a short time. I won't say what because it's personal, but this is going to result in her moving to Texas with her dad. I live in Washington, D.C., and already commute 3 hours to Virginia to see her, where she lives with her mom. We went back and forth and agreed that this super long-distance relationship wouldn't work because she needs to fix some things on her own and doesn't want to string me along because I don't deserve that. I said I would stick by her, but she said it was her final decision. Even though I was obviously heartbroken, I understood, and that was that. I still follow her on social media but deleted our Instagram highlight. I keep checking her profile and she still posts little notes, which leads me to log out of my account because I can't bear to look at her page and not feel the urge to reply. She needs space, so that is what I'm giving her. Even though I know it's messed up, I am a little upset that she is posting because I wonder why she can post there but couldn't text me those little things throughout the day. Then I realized that it is one thing to make a note and another to have an actual conversation with someone. I just wish it had worked out differently. Even though I would have been unhappy because she wouldn't have talked to me much, at least we would have been together, and I would have been her support. I just want to be the person who will always be there for her. My mind keeps thinking that she is just having a long day at work and will text me later or in a couple of days, which is not the case. We were not on a break, we were broken up. That is still hard to accept. I just miss her and wish I could do anything to stop her pain. The other night I was overthinking about when, eventually, we are both healed and healthy, she could meet someone else, and that makes me sick. Because I wanted to be that person who makes her happy and uplifts her, not someone else. That is not happening anytime soon, but still, my anxiety sometimes gets the better of me. My mom and friends think she will come back around once she is better, but I also don't want to get my hopes up because that will probably delay my healing. In short, I miss her, and I just wish to talk to her one more time and listen to music together one last time. Story 71. The same people complaining about immigration and customs enforcement now were the ones cheering on the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and their no-knock red flag raids just a few short years ago. The hypocrisy is staggering. Story 72. Personally, Zoloft is really affecting me, and I'm still unemployed. We had an interview at Culver's to be a manager, and I got the job. I maxed out my credit card. I'm pretty sure my boyfriend is losing feelings for me, and I have barely any friends. Socially, Diddy was found not guilty on 3 out of 5 counts. Republicans, in general, Donald Trump is president, and the economy is struggling. But hey, Cyberpunk Edge Runners 2 is coming soon, right? Story 73. I'm unkillable despite my best efforts. It leaves me stranded in a milieu of people who are in distress or dying and need help. I am compelled to provide care, but I cannot turn inward. I care and want to help truly. I stretch myself to the bone to make it happen because I cannot turn that desire off. But if there were a light switch to let me let go, you would hear the click. Story 74. I think I'm slowly losing my mind. Against my better judgment, I've spent nearly 3 years working 1 to 2 days a week, basically being a stay-at-home mom and a live-in maid. I did this not because I wanted to, but because daycare was too expensive at the time. My partner then convinced me it would be a good idea, but that was wrong. Recently, I finally signed my youngest up for daycare, and even though this will allow me to work more and get out of the house, my partner is still difficult. He doesn't clean up after himself, claims to never make messes, and blames any mess involving the kids on me. We fight constantly, and to top it off, he has a cocaine and alcohol problem. The kicker is that he is upset because I'm sober. My children don't deserve this, I don't deserve this, but I'm broke and stuck in a tight spot with no wiggle room. Story 75. The left lane is for passing. Move over and let traffic pass. Yes, even if you are also going over the speed limit, move over and let people pass. Story 76. I think my coworkers are talking about me. However, I do not know what they are saying or what my supposed infraction is. Maybe I am just paranoid, but it is not like I can just go and ask. Then I would look crazy. Story 77. Artificial intelligence upscaled pornography is low quality and never looks good. I would rather watch 480p resolution content than 4K artificially enhanced content any day of the week. Story 78. The number of people my husband and I have had in our lives who told us we were crazy for not taking medication for our mental illnesses and instead choosing a behavioral and lifestyle change approach is surprising. Some even said that managing without medication is much worse. Well, we are doing very well right now, 3 months off Cymbalta, and I am much happier. For both of us, this involved leaving our stressful full-time jobs and moving into creative work that suits us. This approach is not for everyone, and we would never criticize others for how they choose to live their lives. Story 79. As a Texan, I hate my state's government, all in charge, and all the Republican representatives. A majority of the people in my state voted for the current political and economic changes without realizing they are being negatively affected. They still vote Republican for various reasons. I truly believe the recent flooding in my state should be a massive wake-up call for change, but I am always let down. I am not a religious person, but I feel that God is trying to punish Texas, and I don't blame him. I am frustrated with Ted Cruz, Greg Abbott, and the Trump administration. I am just beyond done at this point. Sorry if this got harsh at the end. I no longer feel anything positive for the future of the United States. Story 80. She told me she loved me and wanted to be with me. Then she admitted to sending lingerie pictures to another man. She felt bad about it only because she wasn't ready for him to see the scars on her legs. Story 81. It is wrong for parents to expect their child to do whatever they choose. Otherwise, they are not a good child. Story 82. Comcast Infinity wasted many hours of unsuccessful technical support trying to fix my Wi-Fi. Then the representatives had the nerve to try to sell me other services. Listen, if I am unhappy with the service I have, I will not be giving you more business. Stop with the relentless upselling. Story 83. Piracy is theft. I am not fully against it, but the fact is that you are stealing a product when you do it. If you do not like how a video game company is treating their developers and decide to pirate their game to avoid supporting them, you should know that you are not improving the problem. In fact, you may be making it worse. Most people pirate because they do not want to pay for products, and they often hide behind noble causes to justify their actions. Story 84. I cannot get a nudity 214 no matter how many times I ask. After re-enlisting, the courthouse says I was honorably discharged, but I cannot find a way to get any more information. I have been trying to get benefits since 2019, but I end up contracting, and it throws me off. Story 85. My job is underappreciated, and no one in my office likes me. I know because I was told. I would leave if I didn't receive the pay and benefits I have. I work with 3 other women who form a clique similar to Mean Girls. The doctors we work under don't care because they are always with patients. I was chastised for going to the bathroom too often and then accused of vaping at my desk. I had to discuss this with my supervisor while he was holding his vape, seemingly about to use it. The clique is always whispering about something that makes me feel insecure. They stand at my desk and chat but act like I don't exist. I do things the way I was trained, then get yelled at when I do them differently from their preferences. I wake up every morning wanting to call off, but no one else knows how to do my job, so even if it was necessary to stay home, I probably couldn't. I am miserable and lonely, disrespected regularly, and filing a complaint does nothing. Things return to how they were after about a week. I went from trying to be pleasant and get to know everyone to becoming like a robot. I don't discuss anything unless it's work-related. I don't eat lunch with others or try to be included anymore. Invites are not extended. I go to work, come home, sleep, and repeat. There is nothing I enjoy about my job except the pay and benefits. I am expected to pick my battles even when someone is clearly wrong or rude. I was told the inappropriate behavior directed toward me was not disrespectful. I stopped asking for help. I arrive later than I used to solely to avoid making their coffee. I hate them and I hate this job. Story 86. My managers at work are basically children, and I want to throw them all into the sun. But I am an adult. I am an adult who will be a professional, polite, even. Yes. Story 87. The company that manufactured my motorized wheelchair and the physical therapy place I go to did not measure me correctly, because my wheelchair is too big for me. Additionally, the physical therapist did not pressure map the cushion on the wheelchair properly, so it still hurts my bottom. I also do not have enough strength in my neck to hold it up correctly all the time, and it hurts to move it. The headrest on my wheelchair does not provide the neck support I was expecting. Finally, the footrests have moved and no longer support my feet as they should. Story 88. I am pretty frustrated with American politics, Reddit, and social media in general. People on the left go crazy to push their narrative, people on the right go extreme to push theirs, and people in the middle get ostracized for not picking a side because some things require nuance. Probably half the people posting content are bots and artificial intelligence purposely pushing division. Half the time I see a post with a lot of engagement, but the article is an extreme opinion piece from an obscure website, and everyone acts like it is the word of God because it aligns with what they want to be true. Everything is politicized now, and I hate it. Story 89. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I have small fiber neuropathy, which causes head-to-toe nerve pain 24/7, and inflammatory arthritis caused by Sjogren's syndrome. I cannot sleep at night because the pain keeps me awake. I want just one day without pain and to feel fully rested. Is that too much to ask for? Story 90. My brother is inconsiderate. For example, yesterday was my birthday, and he told me I need to lose weight. He audibly gasped and said, "Really? Oh my God." When I told him how much I weigh at my birthday dinner. I am slightly overweight, but nothing extreme. I dislike him greatly and have to stop myself from wishing harm on him. Story 91. It's a minor problem and a first world problem for sure. Also, I probably will sound super entitled complaining about this. I ordered 3 manga volumes at once from my local bookstore, but one got its delivery date delayed by a full week, and I have already fully read through the other 2 volumes of that manga. The story in volume 10 ended on a major cliffhanger, with the main character in direct danger. I do not think they will actually kill him off, but it is a setup for the real enemy reveal, since the writers originally misled the reader in that volume about who it actually is. Now I have to wait at least until Friday to know what happens in volume 11. I really want to know how the rest of the main cast is going to save that main character, but I do not want to get spoiled at the same time. Story 92. I just want to be normal, be able to speak to people, have basic life skills, and have my own home in life, but my childhood has prevented any of that from ever happening. Story 93. Some people are blaming Donald Trump for not signing a certain document and claiming it caused the flood in Texas. He does not control the weather. The logic of some people these days is surprising. Story 94. My traumatic first kiss. Beware, it gets pretty dark. I thought I was going to a house party, but when I got there, he came out and walked me to his car. I was in a strange neighborhood and had taken a rideshare there, so I felt stranded. I wish that once I realized we weren't going to be around other people, I had called another ride to leave, but I went with him, I guess to be agreeable like girls are supposed to be. He kept asking to kiss me, and I said no at least a dozen times before he convinced me. I wanted to wait until marriage and have my first kiss with someone who cared about me. Anyway, he brought me to a park and had us get into the back seat. He pinned me down while grinning and told me to try to move. I tried and realized just how much stronger he was than me. He laughed when he saw my fear and said that even if I wanted to get away, I couldn't. He then started touching me inappropriately and asked which I hated more, being kissed or being touched that way. I said I hated being kissed more because kissing felt so much more intimate. He begged and begged to have sex, and I kept saying no. He asked so many times, saying things like, Just for 1 second, just the tip, or, come on, you're so boring. I realized the position I was in. I was locked in someone else's car at midnight, at least 30 minutes from home, with a guy much bigger than me, who clearly couldn't take no for an answer and liked seeing me scared. After about 17 times saying no, I eventually said, fine. I was so sad and felt like my dreams had already gone out the window, so I thought if I could just get this over with, I'd get out of there. Luckily, he tried to penetrate me, but I was so scared and clenched that he got erectile dysfunction and couldn't proceed. Once that happened, he said it was all my fault and yelled at me, then forced me to perform oral sex. After that night, I lost sight of who I was and who I wanted to be. This happened in 2017 when I was 17, on the night before Thanksgiving. I felt disgusted by myself but also exhausted. Once I finally got home, I fell asleep in those clothes on top of my bed. I was too disgusted to get into bed without showering and slept through our Thanksgiving lunch. I am not a deep sleeper, but my mom came into my room to try to wake me and couldn't. She probably thought I was on drugs because I saw the disappointment on her face. My grandfather, my biggest supporter in life, someone who always believed in me, supported my dreams, and loved me unconditionally, was very sad that I didn't come, and so was I. Since then, my relationships have continued to be sad, unhealthy, and with scary men no matter how hard I try to stop it. I think I now recognize who is safe and who isn't, so hopefully, it won't happen again. But in 2 other relationships, the guy wasn't horrible to me until 9 months and 2.5 years in, so I feel like I can't ever be sure that I'm safe. I'll never get to be the person I feel like deep down. I still feel like that girl whose biggest dream was to find someone who loves her and could see her as a person before they started looking for what she could offer them. What sucks now is that at 25, I've made the best friends I've ever had, and somehow 3 of those girls I'm closest with are all getting to live out my dream of waiting until marriage. I am so happy for them, but also devastated and disgusted by myself and the choices I made that night and afterward because I didn't feel like I had any value left. Part of me still wishes to meet the man of my dreams who wants to know me, sees my depth and heart, and wants to protect it. But the other part of me sees who is out there and how I'm treated, and I don't know if I'll ever meet someone who could love me after all of that. There are so many beautiful, kind, successful women out there, and those women wouldn't make their partner see the world the way I do. They also wouldn't have to find out what awful circumstances and a lack of self-worth look like in a woman. It weighs on me every moment of every day that I'm nowhere close to the woman I wanted to be, and the amazing things in life I experience will never be enough to make up for all the horrible things that have happened. I do have a great life in every other area. Great friends, a good job, amazing relationships with my very supportive family. But that huge part of my life is always there, even with decades of therapy. I have no idea how to date. I've had people leave when I tell them I want to wait to get to know each other before moving forward and that I want to be able to wait until marriage. Some seem to get bored of me or put off by my personality, and I guess we're just attracted to my looks. I also feel like I shouldn't share this with people I date because it's depressing, but also because it shows how much others have gotten away with or just how much I've been through. My friends can sympathize with what they know, but I can see in their eyes that they can't really understand the impact this has on me. It makes me feel like I'll never be able to find someone who can really know me or understand my heart. I'm exhausted carrying around something I can never change but also have to be so aware of to protect myself in the way I couldn't when I was younger. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.